Welcome to Behind the Scenes of Escaping Twin Flames with Jesse H. I'll let you explain your role on the filming of Escaping Twin Flames on
Yeah,
Netflix.
so I was an archival producer on the show, so I had was one of the people that had the job to look through all of the original footage from Twin Flames universe and the classes and pick out the pieces that we felt were relevant to the stories that we were talking about, and kind of giving those pieces to the editors to work with. And yeah, there was a lot of archival to look through.
What was your favorite part of watching all the TFU footage from Twin Flames universe to the coaching meetings?
Honestly, I just found it really interesting watching it, the way that it was like kind of seeing people's stories like unfold throughout the time. I felt like I got to know everybody before I even like obviously met a lot of you since then, but before that, I felt like I kind of knew everyone because it was like very intimate, honestly. And I just felt like I really started to care about you guys and felt like I was almost like a part of the classes because I was watching them. And so yeah, I felt like very invested in everyone's stories.
I thought, and you were technically being indoctrinated in. Just want to add that because you were watching the classes, and that's part of the indoctrination process.
Yeah.
Besides the YouTube videos, that's just the minimal start of it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I basically could have been an Ascension code.
You could. Technically, that is part of the rules of Ascension coaching. You're supposed to watch all of TFU, Life Purpose class, and depending on which level of management you're in, all those videos and catch up fully. If you aren't fully caught up, you're in trouble. Yeah. What was the hardest part of the job for you?
I think it was hard sometimes being so deep in it, watching them constantly and going into it with already the mentality of this is a cult. I know that up front. And so having that in the front of my mind, so kind of wanting to like reject everything that Jeff and Shalia were teaching in the classes, but where, in my opinion, they take some little tidbits here and there of decent, spiritual knowledge or guidance from, I think, from other people. And those things where there would sometimes be things that would like resonate with me. And then being so confused by that and being like, I don't want to agree with this, or like, like what then having that inner conflict of, or hearing anything that like reminded me of their teachings and being like, I can't agree with this, and just like it feeling like, how do I navigate that? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like at least for me personally, when I was getting into watching that, when I was in the group, for me, I was conflicted all the time because a lot of what was being taught in the classes I didn't necessarily agree with, but I was told to mirror it
Mm.
every time I had an issue with it. So automatically it was my fault anyways. So I understand that confliction very
Yeah,
well.
I actually felt like I subconsciously almost started mirroring things just from
Oh,
hearing
geez.
like them say that so often to everybody. Like it just went in my subconscious, So there was times where I would almost start doing it to myself and then like notice, like, oh my gosh.
Don't do those things. No, no gaslighting yourself. It should be called the gaslighting, well, gaslight exercise. That's what I believe it should be called. But that's my personal opinion. Do you have a favorite memory during the process of making Escaping Twin Flames on Netflix?
I would say during the interview that we did with Dr. Adair, who's like the gender expert, he's a professor, for anyone that hasn't seen it. I was there during that time in New York and I actually got to ask him some of the questions, which was really exciting. And just like being there and seeing the way that he answered our questions and kind of brought everything together in a really nice way, and that was such an important interview. Yeah, that was a really good moment.
It was. Yeah, I've been trying to purposely look up his information because I want to try to get him on here. But that's really awesome you got to do that. And now the question. How was it from trans perspective, in your personal opinion, seeing what Jeff and Shalia are doing to others, and did the series do justice for trans people?
Yeah, so I mean, this was something that I was pretty anxious about the whole time making the show because it could have gone wrong. Like the way that we talked about it, it had to be so carefully constructed in a way, because it is really sensitive, and we wanted to be careful not to say like we think anyone's trans or not, because that's not our place. And that's the whole point, is that we feel that it wasn't their place to say that. And so we also are not going to say we think anyone like are trans or not. So I think talking about the ways that people were kind of pushed in a certain direction, but also giving space to be like, but that doesn't mean that that isn't their real identity, but we can't ignore the fact they were being pushed in a certain direction. I think having space for both of those realities was really important. And I think that we did do justice for trans people. I hope so. So far I've heard nothing but positive responses from trans people from watching the series. So I'm really glad about that. And we had a lot of conversations about this and making sure we were doing it right. And we were really thinking hard about it. But from my opinion of what Jeff and Shalia are doing to others, I do think they're harming the trans community in general by pushing these concepts of divine masculinity and divine femininity and saying you're 100% one or the other. I think that's wrong. And I think that they're completely erasing non-binary identities, being bi. They're creating this super binary world that is just not accurate. And yeah, I think it's really harmful. I don't
Yeah, I fully
know.
agree too, just from my perspective of having the opposite, I guess, experience of what an actual trans person goes through, of being told you're this instead of actually feeling it for myself. So
Mhm.
just to add and back you up on that, that yeah,
Yeah.
I fully agree with all of that. With me personally, I don't like saying it unless someone who actually has experienced it says it, because it just doesn't feel right to me. But me having the opposite experience gives me at least a little experience in, I guess, what someone goes through of being in the wrong body. But in my case, I knew I was in the correct one, which I hope I'm wording that correctly.
Yeah. No,
um,
that makes sense. It's almost like gender dysphoria, but for like being a cisgender person.
exactly, yeah, because I'm absolutely cisgender. It's true, yes. And yeah, cisgendered and part of the LGBT community, well, queer community. I'm trying to get myself back in the habit of saying just queer because
Yeah.
it's too long otherwise.
But
But
yeah,
yeah.
I think that what's really frustrating to me is that, and Dr. Adair says this so well in this series, but how, people that are anti-trans are thinking that like this is happening, that people are pushed to being trans, and it's just like brainwashing or a cult, and that's not true, but like Jeff and Shalia are perpetuating that myth by doing this.
Yeah, they're really messing it up. Just for me personally, with those close to me that are trans, though who's close to me doesn't like using that word, but for them at least, it's yeah, heartbreaking and hard to see. And for me too, just knowing that it's hard to see, and with especially with the laws happening now, we don't need Jeff and Shalia doing their BS of this. It's not helping anyone's case. Well,
Yeah.
except them financially. That's about it. But yeah, it's frustrating and hard that they're doing this in such a time period where we're divided as a state
Yeah.
over an issue being humans. It's so stupid. That's
Yeah.
the best way I can put it. Humans being humans. But yeah, just putting my own personal opinion in there. Because, yes, you are human, I'm human, human to human talking, just
Yeah.
to help others out there. Actually, in my recent interview with Aaron, we go on a whole thing on Trump. If you end up watching it, you might like it. I go on a full rant because we've read The Cult of Trump, which is important to read because
Oh,
technically all of America has been under the influence of a cult leader for 4 years. In
wow.
my personal opinion, I will add that in there. But
Yeah, I'll check that
highly
out.
recommend.
I can see that. I can see that being true. Yeah.
Yeah, so technically everyone has, even if they say they never have. But I'll try to get back to focusing. Did you ever feel like, yeah, we kind of went over that, being indoctrinated into watching the videos that you were being indoctrinated in?
Yeah, I did kind of feel like that at some points, like what I said before of just feeling like wanting to reject everything, but then not everything they say I feel like is false. Like obviously there's a reason why people stay in Twin Flames universe, like they have some wisdom, whether that's their original content or not is a different question. But yeah, you can't like fully reject everything, I feel like. So just trying, it almost made me feel at some points like what is real, what is true, you know?
Yeah. And then I think he did, well, yeah, in Twin Flames universe, I know at some points, just like in Life Purpose class, there are some points where Jeff is just blatantly threatening everyone, saying that this is the good, happy place. And if you choose anything other than here, that just brought up that memory for me. If you aren't choosing here, you're choosing hell. I know that's somewhere, I don't know which episodes or anything like that, but I know that's in there. That adds to the indoctrination and the phobia
Yeah, the fear
being
of,
there and staying there.
for sure.
Yeah. Here's the next fun question about Jeff and Shalia. After watching all the videos, do you personally feel Jeff and Shalia are a danger to society?
Yeah, I do think that like what we talked about with the trans really thing, that harm to society in general and to trans people in general. I'm not saying like the specific people or anything. You know, if people ever that they were trans in Twin Flames universe, that's great and I'm happy for them. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
But just in general. But I do feel like they're a danger to society in other ways as well. And I honestly, this is controversial, maybe, but the idea of twin flames even dangerous as believing that like someone person, no matter what, and you'll go through anything with them, I think can be dangerous because I think that really in abusive relationships it gets into really dangerous ground. I think they really are gung-ho about sticking with your person no matter what. And I think that's one of the most dangerous parts.
Yeah, and it's toxic too, like really toxic because you end up, at least for me, because I was part of the 2020 coupling, no matter what that relationship is or what it looks like, if you're in it, you're in it. And you feel like you have no way out. At least I did when I was coupled. And there was a lot of abuse going on, but you're not aware of it until you can look from the outside and it's easier to see it. But when you're inside, you don't see it because Jeff and Shalia, as you've watched, definitely teach abuse in that, which is horrible in itself.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were not able to like acknowledge or admit to yourself things were abusive while you were in it?
No, I didn't feel like I could at all. And I wasn't fully aware of it either because I was too caught up either working for them, doing their exercise, working for them, trying to have a daily life, working for them. Most of the time I was working for them or just watching a video or telling someone to watch a video or telling someone to buy a product. So no matter what, it was constant doing something. So my mind couldn't have the time to think or go, oh, this is happening. It took literally Sarah Berman's first article for me to go, oh, they're full of BS. And I'm seeing it now for the first time ever. So
Good. I'm glad that that did impact you in that way. And it's nice to hear that because I hope like our series have that impact on anyone that lives universe.
I hope so too. I hope more people start coming out and start speaking up and knowing that they're safe to speak up. They have actually a lot of people supporting them, even complete strangers. I've had, especially when the series first came out, I had like hundreds of personal DMs, which I didn't answer all of them. Some of them I didn't bother with because I don't know why men like to go towards people that prefer women. I prefer women. I just want to add that again and want to try to flirt with you or buy. I don't know. It was creepy dudes. Too many creepy dudes. But
I'm sorry.
besides that, I would prefer women. I only had one, but she ended up also being creepy. But yeah, it was nice to have a lot of people, even from other cults, reaching out to, going, I understand your experience. And then just complete strangers saying, I'm so glad you're out and being supportive. And then knowing like Dr. Lalalich, she's definitely all aboard and supporting anyone who comes out. And I just see that without her personally saying it. I just see her following a lot of ex members that are out currently. So that tells me she's willing to help.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many people that are rooting for everyone there. And
I really hope more start coming out and that it continues doing really, really well, even with the awards, I guess, today
yeah, today.
happening. Yeah, that's what Inbal told me. So
Yeah.
it's today. And I said, oh, that's when I'm interviewing Jesse.
Yeah, the Eddie's Awards. Exciting.
It is exciting. I hope they win.
Yeah, me too.
We'll find out later, I guess, because it's at 1. So when you have to go at
Yeah.
1 is when it's on. Let's see. Do you have any current films or projects you would like to highlight?
I am actually working on a documentary right now, like an hour-long documentary about pregnancy, actually. It's called Pregnant.
I love
And
that.
a friend of mine through his pregnancy journey and doing like going to the doctors, having interviews with the doctors and about trying to get pregnant and then being pregnant and then also the stigmas care, LGBTQ healthcare, and kind of the difficulties with being pregnant and being a person. So that's we're finishing that up now, but we're gonna submit it to some festival. It's educational for people.
Oh yeah, I bet it's gonna do really well. That's my personal opinion. That's gonna do really well. Not a lot of people are gonna watch. I know
Okay.
I will. Comes out where I can watch it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you
Just
know.
tell me and I will watch it.
Sweet.
Okay. The very last thing that I wrote sloppily, but do you have a favorite behind the scenes archiving moment?
I don't know, it's hard. I felt like I was in my own bubble almost doing the archiving work. I was hybrid, so sometimes at home and watching it, all the classes and everything here, and then sometimes I was in the office and we would have to do like little pauses and do like a 5 minute ab workout. Just like it was a nice like team building exercise because it's like it was pretty heavy content, obviously, to like, be always watching and talking about. So we do these little workout breaks in the in the middle of the day.
I like
Just
that. That's a good way to break it up and
yeah.
not lose it watching it so much.
Yeah, so I feel like we did like really bond as the team working on it because it was like we had those really big conversations. It wasn't light. And so yeah, I feel like that was my overall on just the daily moments of working on it, you know.
I like that very much. Well, we did get through all the questions,
Sweet.
like in record time. I guess I need to practice on doing this. I'm not very good at etiquette socially, so I'm trying to practice as I do this. Like, Inbal called me out on it and went, "Don't you want to do an ending part?" Because normally I film afterwards, and I ended up not filming afterwards for her because we already did it anyways.
You
I'll
want to
do a
do a little,
practice if you're for it.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because all this conversation part won't be in. I'll make sure it's deleted, like our
Okay.
random little parts without the questions.
Okay.
Well, when we go off script is fine, but yeah, he'll still be human.
Okay.
But thank you, Jesse, for coming on. Well, other Jesse H. You are Jesse H. also. I
Yeah.
appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having
And cool. Then I guess I'll do embrace your truth, tell your story. That's my slogan. I don't know.
I love it.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for watching my interview with Jesse H., or the other Jesse, since we are both Jesse H's. And thank you, Jesse, for being so honest and vulnerable and letting me know of your personal opinion. I look forward to some of our future projects together and announcing it on this YouTube channel. I won't yet, though, since we're only in the process of it. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for watching this. Let me know in the comments below who you want to see me interview, what you want to see on this channel, because stories are open to everything, not just interviews. I will be doing other things on this channel too, and I will continue interviews too. So it'll eventually be a mix of half and half. And again, thank you, Jesse, so much for being on here. I appreciate you beyond anything. I hope to have a future interview with you too. And if you like the content, please, please, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. It helps the algorithm. If you want the word and education on any of my cult interviews or books, or anything I've done so far, please share with a friend, share with a family member, do whatever you want, honestly, and leave me a comment. I will reply. It might not be right away, but I will absolutely reply. If you have a question for me, have a question for the guest that was there, I can ask them the same question and then reply back with the comments. Thanks so much for being here. Embrace your truth. Tell your story. Thanks so much. And I appreciate everyone here. Peace. Till next time. Bye.